Hi there, folks, and welcome to this episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. If you've been following me for a little bit for the past couple of weekends, my son and I have taken this old 1976 Starcraft with the 120 horse inboard outboard on the river, Mississippi River. We've covered well over 200 miles in the past 2 weekends, running upriver and downriver. We've explored some areas. I want to get it ready. It's been, like I said, it's been 200 miles. Now keep in mind, I've had this boat this September, I believe, which is now, we'll have had this boat for 4 years. That would complete 4 years from the day of purchase, I believe. So I bought it in 2017, September 2017. This is September 2021. Not to date the video or anything, but just to kind of put things in perspective. 4 years ago when I picked this boat up for $650, it was hadn't ran for 5 or 6 years. I bought it from the second owner that bought it in the early 80s. And the older gentleman I bought it from told me a little bit of history about it, and nothing really anything to talk about other than he'd done a real good job of taking care of the boat. It was in a barn. Yes, it was dusty when I got it, but it's lived its life in a barn, so it hasn't been exposed to the sunlight, its whole life. That's why all the vinyl you see inside this boat is original, 1976 original vinyl. I actually these, I think they're called combing pads on the front here. There's a video I show where I redo these and I put starboard behind it instead of using plywood. Starboard will never rot like the plywood did, but I was able to reuse or restaple onto it. All the seats in the back are still the original vinyl. I've got some stuff I want to try today. I've cleaned it up back when I first got the boat, and now it's been 4 years later. I haven't cleaned it since, so to speak. We've just used it, right? But we're gonna do some cleaning on that. But the main thing I want to get to is some of the stuff I want to make sure before we go out this coming weekend. We're going to explore another section of the Mississippi River, so stay tuned to that next video coming up. But I think over the 4 years that I've had it, the last 2 weekends, and this is no joke, the last 2 weekends I've probably put more miles of it and hours on the motor in the last 2 weekends than I did in the last 4 years. And I'll say that because a lot of the ponds and lakes we were going to were smaller. A lot of times we'd blast, 15 minutes over here and then troll and use the trolling motor a lot. So the motor hadn't really spent that many hours, what I'd call running. My dad sent me a little thing, said that he did a little research and the average, this is average, this isn't obviously not people that do fishing for a living and stuff. The average boat motor runs about 50 hours a year. And I would say that's pretty good usage. I mean, getting out there, depending on whether you're using it for skiing or pleasure boating, or if you're just fishing. Because a lot of times when you're out fishing, if you're like me, you're using the motor to get to a destination, but then you're using the trolling motor to go around. Or like on this one, I got a kicker motor that I use for just trolling. But because why put the wear and tear on the inboard outboard when I can put the wear and tear on a little 9.9? A little less expensive to replace, especially if you know how to work on them. But so what I'm going to do here, I want to drain the gear oil first in the outdrive because I'm really curious how it looks. Now keep in mind, I don't know if the seals have ever been replaced. I do know I replaced the water pump last year, I believe. So the water pump is pretty fresh, and I changed the gear oil then. But now we have over 200 miles, for darn sure 200 miles on that gear oil. And I want to drain it and just see what it looks like. I want to see if there's any water in it, and I want to see the condition of it. And now I use AMSOIL 75W90, I believe it is, gear oil, outboard, or marine gear oil. Now the reason I use the marine gear oil, I'm not sponsored by AMSOIL at all. I use a lot of their products, but I'm not sponsored by them because I believe in them, and I wanted to share that information with you guys. But the AMSOIL gear oil on the back of the bottle says it can have up to 10% water contamination in it and maintain its lubricity properties in its application. That's kind of a big deal when you're talking about marine applications where a seal could start to go bad and you could lose your lose your seals a little bit and start having some water contaminate your oil. Well, guess what? That's why you want to drain your oil periodically, just to make sure your seals aren't going bad. And if they are, if it does have some water in it, hopefully this oil will protect your gears and bearings from being destroyed. That's why I use it. Well, let's jump in. I'm going to go ahead and lower the outdrive down. We're going to drain the gear oil, and then we're going to take a look at it. We're going to refill it. I'm going to pull the prop off just to make sure there's no fishing line or anything got behind the prop. I'm going to show you the little ding I put on my prop last weekend at the river when I accidentally ran across a wing dam. Fortunately, I was going very low speed. I was less than 5 miles an hour moving around, and I went across it, and I didn't have it trimmed up enough, and sure enough, I hit the prop, got a little bump on it. But I'm going to fix that up a little bit. It didn't seem to impact the performance at all. It did not impact the balance or anything as well. Let's go to the back of the boat and take a look at what's going on. Now, when it comes time to change your gear oil, you want to have your trim adjusted so that the drain screw is at its lowest part on the rear end or the outdrive gearbox as possible. So I'm going to go ahead and drop this down a little bit. I'm going to get it where that drain hole right here is at the very bottom of the gearbox. And we're going to go ahead and pull that plug out and see what it looks like underneath there. Okay, right down here is our lower drain hole screw. Make sure you use a good quality screwdriver so you don't strip out your screw and make a mess out of things. Let's see what the oil looks like that comes out of here. All right. Well, that's pretty black, for sure. Let's go ahead and undo this top plug so it can breathe and hopefully drain just a little bit faster. The good news is no water. 0 water came out of that. But that's pretty black. Feels pretty clean though, but it's black, it's cool. So that was a good choice of mine to actually decide to change this gear oil out, because I would have never guessed it would have been that dark. Now keep in mind, I had this oil in here last year, but I only had the boat out less than 5 times last year before I winterized it. And then this year I've had it out, you know, you seen me a couple weeks ago take it out of storage basically, and we head to the river and we start pounding the crap out of this thing. But I'm pretty happy with this, because this means there is no water in the gearbox. It means my seals are still holding as they should, which is a good thing. All right. Now what I've got on here, I've been running for the past few years, is a Solus 1531-143-17. So it's like a 14.3 inch diameter prop with a 17 pitch on it. Runs top speed of about 31 miles an hour at 4,100 RPMs, I believe it is. That's wide open throttle in this boat. But I had it out in the river last couple weekends, as I've said, and I hit some wing dams. I can feel a little roughness here where it hit some stuff. A little more right there. I can feel a little sharpness right there where it hit some stuff. But then I had this happen. Whammo! That's where it caught a rock pretty good. Now here again, I was just idling. It like went thump once, and that was enough to do that kind of damage to the prop. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a little massaging on it, and then I'll do some filing on it just to get this nasty edge off so it slices through the water cleanly still. So let's go get some tools and we'll do that. Now I'll be honest with you, I've never done this before, but let's see what happens. What I'm doing is using one hammer as a backup, and I know it's going to be hard for you guys to see. I'm using the other hammer to do some massaging. I'm not trying to mess with the pitch or anything. I'm just trying to get this little bit of metal kind of back where it belongs. Not too bad. Yeah, you're not going to make it perfect again, I get that. But I can get rid of the little whammo. Alright, that edge is back to being not so nasty. I'm gonna go ahead and take my little file. It's never gonna be perfect again, but at least it doesn't look like a big giant whammo on there now. There we go. It's never gonna be perfect again, but at least the big whammo is gone. And that's all I'm after. That way when I run my hand over it, I don't get cut either. We got that done. Now it looks like the oil is finished draining. Now that the oil is finished draining, we'll go ahead and lower the unit the rest of the way down. Like I said in the beginning of the video, I'm not sponsored by these guys, but this is the gear lube that I use. It's Marine Gear Lubes, SAE 75W90. Comes in quart bottles. And if you don't have one of these little pumps to do this with, I suggest you get one. Now, you can follow the links in my description down below. I'll have a link to everything I used, including the type of hammer, the file, the screwdriver, the oil pump, and any other things I use in this video. I'll have a link down below if you want to go online and purchase your own version of what I have. So let's go ahead and pump this thing up. Now, right now I have a full quart of lubrication here, and I have 2 extra quarts. I'm not sure how many this is going to take. I can't remember. But we're going to fill it. So if we go from the bottom here all the way to the top, and this particular one, it's 1 lubrication system. I'm going to pump this whole thing full, clear up to here until it comes out the oil vent hole. When it comes out the oil vent hole, I'll put the upper screw back in, then I'll put the bottom screw back in, and we'll be all done with this oil change. So now we're going to take and put this in the drain hole. You fill it from the bottom up. That way you don't end up with any air pockets. And that fits in there rather snug, which is nice. It'll hold itself. It has so far for me anyway. And we're going to sit here and pump. Slowly pump this thing. It's not a race. But as you can see, the color of the gear lube in this line here, this clear line, this gear oil is a nice light golden oil color. So you can tell that it had received some wear and tear in the gearbox. That's why it was black. And that's why you want to check this stuff. So I'm going to continue to fill this up this way until we see oil come out the top. Now the reason I find this video important is because every gearbox and everything I've worked on to date has been a result of so many years of other people neglecting it. This time, this is me, and I know the use that this outdrive has been through, and I was actually pretty impressed at how black the oil was, because I was honestly expecting it to be little to no color change. But yeah, so that tells me when I run it this hard on this old gearbox that I'm gonna have to change the oil just a little more often. About every 200 miles, I would say. So right now, we're about 3/4 of a quart pumped in here. I've got you focused on this upper vent hole to show you what I'm looking for, which you should be able to see when oil comes out. There's 1 full quart stuck in there so far. I'm glad I bought an extra 2 quarts because I couldn't remember what it takes. And you always want to make sure you have enough oil versus getting it not full. There you go. You see that come out right there? Nice clear stream, no bubbles. I'll pump another pump in there just to, there we go. We're good and solid there. I like that. We can go ahead and put the plug back in. Get that tightened up. Wipe away my mess. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to quickly pull this out and put the plug in before not even a tablespoon of oil will come out. Just like that. Now some people will go ahead and take have a little bit of Vaseline on their finger and go and wipe it over that hole so they can take their time putting that plug in. That's fine. That's what everybody has a choice on how they like to do it. I've had success doing this many times. We'll make sure that's in good and tight. Wipe off our excess, and our gear oil is now changed. So I'm satisfied with that. Now I'm going to show you another thing I want to inspect. So first, let me show you how much oil we consumed. gear oil we consumed here. So that was a full quart. When I started, it's down to 24 ounces, right? So 32 ounces of full quart. That'd be 8 ounces out of this one and a full quart. So it basically holds 40 ounces. Now this is a serial number 4444880. I think I'll have to look at my paperwork. I'm pretty sure this might be an Alpha 1 drive, but I'll double check that information. Now that we got the gear oil changed, there's one grease zerk up here that I like to give a few shots of grease to. And you guys might ask, what kind of grease you using there, Michael? Well, I've got this here, Lucas Marine grease. That's what I'm going to stick in it. That's what I got in my grease gun, just for giving this thing a shot here. We'll pop that on and give her a few pumps. And I'm pretty sure all this grease is this bearing right here. Once we give her about, I'm gonna give her about 10 pumps and we'll call that good. All right, there you have it. We've serviced the outdrive on this boat. It is not 100% serviced. Like I said, normally you would take once a year, and it's not time for that yet. I would take this whole outdrive off, check the splines, replace the gasket. There's an O-ring in there you replace as well that holds this stuff together, that seals it all up, keeps all your oil in. The good news is my seals are still holding because there was absolutely no water in my gear oil when I drained it. That's good news, right? I also have grease things that need to be greased. So we're relatively comfortable going back out on the river with this outdrive. I don't see anything alarming that's going to be like, I probably should take it easy on it. Nope, we're gonna drop the hammer and go. Now, some of you might be thinking, well, golly, if I had a new boat, I wouldn't have to do all that. Wrong. You still got to change your gear oil. You still got to inspect your prop. You still got to inspect and grease the splines on your prop. That doesn't go away with a new boat. That's still there. Don't fool yourself in thinking so. Same way with the changing the oil on your motor. Same thing with changing your spark plugs. Same thing with, the winterizing. All that has to be done on new boats as well as old boats. So, the old saying, boat stands for bust out another 1,000. Not for me, because I do all my own work. And yes, if you take it to a marina, probably going to dump $500 to $1,000. I'm not knocking marinas at all. I'm not, boat repair places. They're out there to keep people on the water and keep their boats running and safe and operational. More power to them. If you're the guy like me that does all of his own work, you save yourself a lot of money. And by doing that, I get to spend more money doing things versus spending it on my boat. Because if you're spending a lot of money keeping your boat on the water by paying other people to work on it, you got less money, a less disposable income to spend doing things with your boat. So just a little food for thought there. All right, now we're going to go back to the inside of the boat. I got a few things I want to do internal to the boat. We're going to check the oil in there on the inboard engine, and we're also going to clean the bilge. The bilge is, over time, oil on these old motors will seep out and drip and get in the bilge, and it will make a mess out of things on the bottom end. Well, what that could also impact is your ability for your bilge pump to bilge the water out. We want to do a double check on that. We're actually going to put some cleaner in the bottom of the boat, and we're going to put the plug in, put some water in there, slosh it around, scrub it up a little bit with a brush, and then we'll pump all of that nastiness out that's in the bottom, and that'll clean the pump and the hose and everything involved there. So that's the way I'm going to do this. So I've got another company I'll be working with. They're going to have some, hopefully send me some products. It'll be a sponsored video coming up soon that will have all kinds of boat care products, and I want to share that stuff with you because I think they have some pretty good stuff. I've watched the reviews, I've watched some videos of other people using it. They've reached out to me and they're willing to work with me. I won't reveal the name yet until I see what all they're going to send me. But they have a lot of boat care products, and that's some of the stuff I still need to do. So let's go to the inside of the boat and continue getting this. Woo! Breakfast is kicking back. And all I had was some fried eggs and toast, man. Anyway, we're going to go to the inside of the boat and see what we need to do to get this thing ready for the river run coming up this weekend. It's going to be, I think, a really good video. We're going to go to a lock, number 19 on the Mississippi River. We're going to probably cover around 100 miles again this weekend. for the trip we want to do, where we're going to put that in. I'll document everywhere we're putting in at, give you some information about the lock. We may lock through this one and go downriver and see where the Des Moines River comes into the Mississippi River. I think I want to do that. And possibly go up the Des Moines River a little bit. It might not be deep enough, we'll see. But that will be the southeastern tip of Iowa. So at this point in time, we would have covered all the way from Clinton to the southeast tip of Iowa. I think it's near just past Keokuk, I believe. And we're gonna go there. So it's gonna be a fun one. I hope you guys enjoy. We'll get you some more time lapse. We'll get you some more awesome drone footage and give you a little bit of history on some of the stuff going on around the river areas. Let's go to the inside of the boat now. What I'm doing on the inside of the boat is I've taken a little bit of brake cleaner and sprayed down some of the outside of the engine that had a little bit of oil residue on it just to kind of dry things up. And now I'm going to take some Dawn dishwashing soap, add a little water to things down here. And any loose floating debris, like bigger pieces of floating debris that are in here, we want to get that out. Because all that's going to do is possibly block your bilge pump from working like it needs to. And that's no good, right? So once I get some water down here in the bilge area, I'm gonna put 2 inches or so in down here. I'm gonna take my little scrubby brush here, and we're gonna get after just kind of scrubbing some of the loose stuff down here, just to kind of clean it up a little bit. Nice thing about this, if you start off with a clean bilge, and you tilt the engine cover back open, and you notice some excess something that shouldn't be there, you might be able to stop and shut your engine off and figure out another way to get back to the dock before you wreck something permanently. Well, that seems to scrub things up pretty nice down here. Once I got it scrubbed up, I'm going to go ahead and turn the bilge on and pump out that dirty water. I'm also going to turn my water hose on, my garden hose on here, and let it run. While it's running, I'll turn the bilge on. Oh, that's some nastiness. As you can see here, that's not just pure water. That's getting out a lot of gunk out of my bilge, which is a good thing. Now that we got it pumping out clean water, I'm going to go ahead and pull the plug and drain the rest of the bilge out. What the bilge pump won't pick up. Now this engine's been running like a top, so the only other thing I'm going to do is just look at my wiring connections, make sure all my wiring looks good. Don't see any obvious problems there. And we're about a half a quart low. The old girl, she uses just a little bit of oil, so we're going to go ahead and put us another half a quart in here, and that should be enough to get us through our next run. Easy peasy. I think we're in good shape there. Now I'm going to go ahead and back it down the hill a little bit with the drain plug out so I can get all this water out of the bilge. Go ahead and close up shop here and back her down the hill. The other thing I want to make you aware of and to be able to check out on your boat. Now this is another boat here. I just put my other one away, but I wanted to show you the bellows. This is the exhaust bellows here, and you got a shift cable bellows, or whatever you want to call it, accordion type rubber boot. And then there's another bellows back up in here. And I want to show you that stuff, and I want to show you, you know, you want to inspect that. This one here has a hole I can stick my finger in. This one needs replaced. The one I'm getting ready to take out on the water, it's fine. I inspected it, reached all the way around it, didn't see anything weird going on. But yeah, this one's obviously bad, so we're gonna have to replace that exhaust bellows there and put a new one in. Well, that's gonna wrap this video up, folks. We got the bilge cleaned out. We checked the little things on the wiring, make sure everything looked nice and secure. We also did a gear oil change, did some greasing back there, fixed a little ding on the prop. We're ready to go out next weekend. That's just a few things you want to pay attention to, or pay mind to if you're going out on a regular basis, is you're going to have to service your boat. And there again, it's way cheaper to learn how to service it yourself. That's why I do these videos, than it is to take it in. These are some pretty minor things, pretty inexpensive tools you have to buy, and you can do it all yourself very easily. Hey, they got the monsters out here. Hear the dogs barking. It's time to take them for a walk, it looks like. So you guys, get out there and have some fun. I'll see you later on this weekend. I'm hoping to get another Mississippi River run in. That's the goal. Weather's looking like it's shaping up to be a great weekend. We're gonna put in and do about 50 miles downriver and get some drone footage, talk about some of the landscape and the area down in that area around the southern tips of Iowa. And we'll see you there. This is Michael saying, if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. We'll see you on the next video. I'm out. And if you stayed this long, in other news, we've let this thing soak for about 72 hours with the Marvel Mystery Oil in the top of the pistons. It has all leaked through to the bottom end, which is good. It should be, the ring should be fully coated. Stay tuned, that video is coming up this weekend as well. I'm hoping I can get that one done and get you some positive results to show you. See you after a bit.